Allo, allo, it's Nia. Welcome to AI Creator World Podcast, the place where creators learn how to grow faster, build smarter, and turn artificial intelligence into real opportunity. Here, we explore powerful AI tools, content strategies, personal branding systems, and new ways to create income in the digital era. If you are building something online, you are in the right place. Let's begin.
Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. Today is March 23, 2026, and I want you to think about something crazy for a second.
Oh, here we go.
Right now, there is this massive multi-million-dollar consulting firm,
Right.
and they are actively losing clients to a 22-year-old sitting at a kitchen table.
It's happening every day now.
It really is. And, think about the legacy firm. They have an entire graphic design department, a seasoned copywriting team, massive budgets.
Decades of institutional momentum.
Exactly. But the 22-year-old,
No.
they've got like a laptop, okay, Wi-Fi, and maybe $40 a month in AI software subscriptions.
And they're winning.
They are winning the battle for digital authority, and that is exactly what we are unpacking today.
Yeah, the fundamental physics of how you build an audience have just been completely broken.
Totally broken. So to figure out how this works, we are looking at a definitive piece of source material today. It's the How to Build a Personal Brand Using AI Tools, 7-Step Guide for 2026.
Published by the AI Creator World team. It's a fantastic breakdown.
It really is. And our mission for this deep dive is to basically deconstruct this entire 7-step framework and create a shortcut for you.
Right, because whether you're, a freelancer trying to land clients or a consultant.
Or just insanely curious about how people manufacture this digital authority now.
Exactly. We want to show you how to build a real recognizable presence and, importantly, do it without the massive budget or like a 40-hour-a-week content habit.
Nobody has time for that.
No. But I do think we need to establish a really crucial caveat right at the start here.
Okay, let's hear it.
The barrier to entry has never been lower, right? We know that. But because it's so low, strategy is actually way more vital than it was, say, 10 years ago.
Because everyone has the same tools.
Exactly. If everyone globally has access to the exact same generative AI, the tools don't set you apart anymore.
Right.
It's the architectural intentionality behind how you deploy them.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the guide talks about the eradication of historical bottlenecks.
Yeah, the big three.
Right? Lack of design skills, lack of copywriting ability, and just having zero content budget.
5 years ago, those things literally stopped 99% of people from ever publishing anything.
You'd hit a wall immediately. You had to either spend months learning Photoshop or hire someone.
Or stare at a blank screen trying to write copy, which, is a totally different skill from your actual job.
Totally. But
Yeah.
now, as the text points out, those bottlenecks are just gone.
Yeah, the production bottleneck is completely gone. AI can generate first drafts of captions or video scripts in seconds.
And custom images, too.
Right, high-fidelity visuals without needing a design degree.
Yeah.
So the bottleneck has actually shifted.
Where did it go?
It's no longer about production capacity. It's purely about decision-making and curation.
And this brings up that concept of the compounding effect from the text.
Yes, this is huge.
It says a beginner using Canva AI and ChatGPT can output content at the same volume and quality as a creator who's been building a team for 5 years.
It's like having a Madison Avenue ad agency living inside your laptop.
It is. But I want to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
If I have this massive agency in my laptop, and you have it, and like 10 million other people have it, aren't we just accelerating toward a massive sea of identical robotic content?
The dreaded AI tone?
Yes. I mean, we all know it. It uses words like delve and tapestry and testament over and over.
Right, until they lose all meaning.
Exactly. If everyone is just compounding that, it sounds like a nightmare.
It is a nightmare, honestly, and it's a justified fear if you look at how amateurs use the tech.
So what's the solution?
Well, what's fascinating here is the mechanical difference between generation and curation.
Okay, break that down for me.
If you just open a standard large language model and type, write a LinkedIn post about leadership,
It's going to be generic.
right, it relies on base training data. It pulls the most statistically probable words.
Which means it gives you the average of every boring business book ever written.
Exactly. But the framework offers a really specific countermeasure. You don't ask the AI to invent a voice for you.
What do you do instead?
You analyze your existing natural voice. You feed it a large corpus of your actual human data.
Wait, hold on. Let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
If I feed an AI my raw, everyday communication like rushed Slack messages or emails to my accountant?
Oh, no, no, no.
Isn't it just going to amplify my worst habits?
That's a great distinction. You don't feed it the chaotic administrative exhaust of your day.
Okay, yeah.
You curate it. You feed it writing where you were trying to explain a complex concept or a really passionate note you wrote.
So you're giving it the best version of yourself.
Exactly. You give it a bounded probability space of your best cognitive outputs.
Right.
And then the AI maps those patterns.
So it learns my sentence length, my transitions.
Right. It mimics the most articulate, focused version of you. It's not pure generation. It's curation and amplification.
Wow. Okay, so you're not outsourcing your personality. You're basically cloning your best self. That reframes the whole thing. But obviously, before this clone army can work, they need a creative brief.
They need to know what they're selling.
Right. And to whom? Which leads us perfectly into step 1 of the framework, extracting your digital DNA.
The foundational stuff.
Exactly. Brand identity. And the source explicitly warns that beginners rush this phase.
They get so intoxicated by the speed of the tools, they just start generating images and posts with zero foundation.
And what happens when they do that?
The guide says you become a digital chameleon.
Oh, a chameleon. I like that.
Yeah, you post like a hyper-academic essay one day, a meme the next day, and a sales pitch the day after that.
So the algorithm gets totally confused.
The algorithm has no idea who to show your stuff to, and humans don't know why they should trust you.
So to fix this, the guide breaks this step down into 3 sub-steps. Clarifying your niche, creating a brand voice, and generating content themes.
Let's look at the niche part first.
Yeah, because there is a very specific prompt provided in the text for this.
And the architecture of this prompt is key.
Right. It goes, I want to build a personal brand in topic area. I have experience in specific background. My goal is to desired outcome.
Like growing an audience or getting clients.
Right. And then it ends with, help me identify a specific niche within this space and describe my ideal audience in detail.
It's incredibly specific.
Why are those specific boundaries so necessary for the AI?
Because if you just say, help me build a brand, the space it searches is basically infinite. You'll just get vague platitudes.
Right. Generic advice.
But by inserting those boundaries, topic, background, outcome, you force the model into a highly specific corner.
And the desired outcome part feels really crucial.
Oh, absolutely. Because building a brand to sell a $10,000 B2B retainer
is totally different from trying to get 3 million views on YouTube for ad revenue.
Mathematically and psychologically entirely different. The AI needs to know the economic engine before it defines the audience.
That makes sense. And once it has that, it can find these intersections you might never have thought of.
Right, like combining your supply chain logistics background with your interest in sustainable fashion.
To find a lucrative, low-competition niche. I love that.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting to me, though. It feels so counterintuitive to sit at a keyboard and use a machine to figure out your own human identity.
It is a little strange, yeah.
Like, hey, server farm in Nevada, who am I? But the AI is basically acting as a perfectly objective mirror here.
An objective mirror. I love that phrasing.
Because humans are terrible at self-assessment. We have imposter syndrome. We undervalue our own expertise.
Because we assume things that are easy for us are easy for everyone.
Exactly. But the AI doesn't have insecurity. It just looks at the data points and reflects back your market value.
It totally bypasses our cognitive bias.
Okay, so we have the niche. Now we have to formalize that voice we were talking about earlier.
Yes. The framework advises generating 3 to 5 adjectives to define your tone.
But more importantly, it mentions identifying what you always do and never do.
The guardrails.
Right. So what's an example of an always do and never do?
Well, maybe your brand voice always uses short declarative sentences, and it never uses academic jargon or passive voice.
So you have the AI codify those rules into a document.
Exactly. And every single piece of content you generate from then on has to pass through that filter.
So whether it's a Tuesday LinkedIn post or a Sunday newsletter, it sounds exactly like you.
It reduces the cognitive load on your audience because you are instantly recognizable.
Speaking of not confusing your audience, that leads to the final part of step 1, content pillars.
Ah, yes. The 3 to 5 core themes.
The text says you have to ask the AI for these pillars and then rigidly stick to them.
Extremely rigid.
But let's talk about the psychology there. Say I'm an organizational psychology expert, right?
Okay.
And I buy a new espresso machine, and I decide to post a 10-minute review of it because I'm a human who likes coffee.
Right, right.
Why does the audience punish me for that?
It breaks the unwritten contract you have with them.
The contract.
Yeah. People don't follow personal brands because they care about every single aspect of your life.
Ouch, but true.
They follow you because you provide a specific, predictable utility. When you break from your pillars, you violate that contract.
It's like turning on the sports channel and suddenly they're showing a cooking show.
Exactly. Even if it's a great cooking show, you're annoyed.
Because it's not what I tuned in for.
And there's an algorithmic penalty, too.
Right.
The social engines categorize you based on semantic clusters.
Right, so if I post about leadership and psychology...
The algorithm knows exactly who to show your stuff to. But the moment you post the espresso machine...
I introduce noise.
Yes. The algorithm gets confused, serves your post to coffee lovers who don't care about leadership, they don't engage, and your authority score drops.
Wow. So the AI helps you define those pillars to keep your signal pure.
That's the goal.
All right, so we have our voice, our pillars. We know what we sound like,
Yeah.
but this is the internet. It's visual.
Very visual.
Which brings us to step 2, the aesthetic algorithm, visual branding.
Visual identity is literally the fastest form of communication.
Faster than reading the perfect hook.
Way faster. Before they read a single word, their brain has processed your color palette, typography, spatial formatting.
And the guide says this consistency signals credibility and intentionality.
It bypasses the logical brain entirely and speaks right to the emotional brain.
And the tools for this are crazy now.
Yeah.
The text mentions Luca and Canva's logo maker.
You just put in your brand name and niche, and the AI generates dozens of vector options instantly.
No more waiting 3 weeks for a designer to send mock-ups.
Nope.
But I really want to dive into the color theory part. The guide mentions a tool called Chroma.
Oh, Chroma is amazing.
It uses AI to learn the colors you like. But how does the AI actually know what works psychologically?
Well, these tools are trained on thousands of highly rated designs. They map mathematical relationships between colors against user engagement metrics.
Wow. But the text says you have to align that output with the identity from step 1.
Right. It's not just about what looks pretty. It's applied psychology.
Let's give an example, like a high-energy lifestyle coach.
Right. For them, you want warm, saturated colors. Vibrant oranges, bold reds.
Because those literally increase heart rate, right? They convey motion.
Exactly. But if your niche is like B2B risk management,
Neon orange would be a disaster.
it would cause massive cognitive dissonance. Your visual signal would conflict with your content.
So what does the AI suggest for them?
Cool. Muted palettes,
Yeah.
slate grays, navy blues, sage green. It conveys stability and calm authority.
So the heavy lifting is done before they even read the post.
Exactly.
Now, to manage this, the guide says you need a 1-page visual style guide and a brand kit in Canva.
Yes. Hex codes and fonts locked in.
Why is standardizing those specific hex codes the secret weapon here?
Because visual drift is the enemy.
Visual drift.
Yeah. If you rely on your memory, your shade of blue will be slightly different every single time. Over 6 months, your feed looks like a messy patchwork quilt.
Oh, I've seen feeds like that. It looks so unprofessional.
But if you lock those 6-digit hex codes into the brand kit, it's integrated right into the API of the software.
I love comparing this to a superhero's costume.
Right.
Or, Steve Jobs' digital turtleneck.
The black turtleneck and New Balance sneakers.
Right. He didn't wear that because he hated fashion. He did it to eliminate decision fatigue.
He preserved his cognitive bandwidth for Apple.
Exactly. So when you build these templates, your feed post, your carousel cover, your reel cover, you are creating a digital turtleneck for your brand.
You never stare at a blank white canvas again.
You just put the uniform on the content.
And that uniform creates instant pattern recognition for the user. When they scroll through a chaotic feed and see your specific shade of sage green, their thumb just stops.
They recognize the visual anchor before they even read your name.
It's a massive algorithmic advantage.
Okay, so we have the voice, the pillars, the costume.
Scaffolding is built.
But scaffolding without a building is useless. How do we build the actual roadmap for what we are going to say each week?
That is step 3, the content blueprint.
Planning strategy.
Right. A personal brand without a rigorous content strategy is basically just a static digital business card.
And the guide says to use ChatGPT for regular ideation sessions to build a content ideas bank.
Stored in Notion or a spreadsheet?
Right, spanning educational, inspirational, and personal categories. But the target number is specific, 20 ideas.
Yes.
Why 20? In my experience, the first 5 ideas I come up with are so obvious.
The cliches of your industry, right.
Exact.
That's exactly why you demand 20. You have to push the LLM past its most probable outputs.
Oh, so you force it to combine disparate concepts.
Right. Ideas 15 through 20 are almost always where the actual unique angles live.
That makes a ton of sense. And you store them in this dynamic database.
Yes. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the guide has a crucial piece of timeline advice here.
The buffer.
The 2 to 3 week buffer. You must always have 2 to 3 weeks of pre-planned ideas available.
Why is that the difference between success and failure?
Because human friction is real. You'll get sick. A client project will run late, or you'll just wake up uninspired.
Right. The cognitive cost of context switching from your day job to creative mode is huge.
If you sit down with 0 ideas and a blank schedule, the friction wins. You skip a day, consistency breaks.
And the algorithmic momentum dies. So the system protects you from your own biology.
If the idea is already there, starting is 90% easier. You're just executing.
Now, the text gives a baseline schedule for beginners.
It's pretty aggressive.
Very. 3 to 4 feed posts, 2 to 3 stories, and 1 reel per week, rotating through those pillars.
Educational on Monday, personal on Wednesday.
But I've got to push back on this.
Sure.
Imagine being a consultant working 40 hours a week, writing posts, designing stories, filming and editing a video every week. Isn't this just a recipe for instant burnout?
If you were doing that manually, like in 2021, you'd burn out in a month.
Absolutely.
But that's exactly why Step 4 exists. We aren't creating content anymore, we are manufacturing it.
The assembly line.
Yes. The strategy and the AI assembly line are what separate a sustainable brand from a flash in the pan.
Let's get into Step 4 then. Rapid content creation. This is where hours of drafting turn into a 15-minute task.
Let's look at the workflow, starting with the text generation.
The text provides a very specific caption prompt.
Right, you don't just say write a post, you dictate the architecture.
The example goes, include a strong opening hook, 2 to 3 lines of value, and end with a question. Add 10 relevant hashtags.
By feeding it those structural constraints, you strip away its tendency to write a boring essay.
You force it into a social media format.
You give it the mold, and it pours the concrete. But here is the critical part. The absolute most important 2 to 3 minutes of the whole process.
The personalization step.
Yes. You cannot just copy and paste the draft.
The guide is so strict about this. You have to add a real example, a specific number, or genuine opinion.
Because the AI has 0 lived experience. It doesn't know about that messy client conversation you had yesterday.
It doesn't have your scar tissue.
Exactly. If you post the raw output, you are competing on general information. And AI made general information cheap.
Information is cheap. Context is expensive.
Injecting your nuance is the only unfakeable asset you have. It separates compelling content from generic output.
The AI builds the house, but you have to bring your own furniture.
Great analogy.
And it's not just text. The assembly line handles video, too.
Which used to be the biggest barrier.
Huge. But the text mentions in-video AI. You just give it text, and it generates the script, the B-roll, the voiceover, the subtitles in minutes.
And for face-to-camera stuff, tools like CapCut or Captions AI automatically edit out your dead air and add those stylized words on screen.
The friction is just gone. But my absolute favorite part of the assembly line is the repurposing strategy.
It's where the scale really happens.
I enthusiastically compare this to nose-to-tail cooking.
Oh, I like that. You don't waste any part of the animal.
Exactly. You don't waste any of your ideas.
Mm.
One 1,000-word blog post becomes 5 LinkedIn posts, 10 tweets, an Instagram carousel, and 2 newsletter sections.
The AI understands the native formatting for each container.
You only do the heavy thinking once. The machine translates it into all the different dialects.
That is how one person maintains the output of a media company.
Okay, so you've produced a mountain of content in record time.
You're feeling good.
But if you have to log in manually every single day at 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. to post it, you're still chained to your phone.
You've just built yourself a stressful new 9-to-5 job.
Right. So we need step 5, the distribution engine, automating the scheduling.
Creating is half the battle. Distribution is where you get your freedom back.
The text mentions a few tools for this. Buffer, which has a clean interface for beginners.
Later, which is great for visual grid previews.
And Metricool, which has a very generous free plan.
Right.
And the strategy here is batching.
Yes. Spending 60 to 90 minutes once a week, you review your ideas, run the prompts, personalize, and load it all into Buffer.
And then the software handles it via APIs for the next 7 days.
You are entirely decoupled from publishing.
The text also gives posting times. Weekday mornings, 7 to 9 a.m. Early evenings, 5 to 7 p.m.
Catching people on their commute or winding down.
But wait, I have a big question here. A common fear I hear all the time.
I think I know what you're going to say.
So what does this all mean for the algorithm? Don't social platforms penalize scheduled posts?
The great scheduling myth.
Right, because they want you native on the app seeing ads, right?
It is a massive myth, and the framework addresses it directly. The algorithm does not penalize approved API tools.
Really?
The algorithm is just designed to maximize retention. It doesn't care how the content got there. It cares how users react to it.
So what is it actually looking for?
Early engagement signals and consistency.
Okay.
If your scheduled post goes live and the first group of people stop scrolling and comment, the velocity of engagement is high. The algorithm pushes it out.
And the consistency part.
Finding your optimal 30-minute window and hitting it perfectly every week builds a habit in your audience.
Oh, they expect it with their morning coffee.
Exactly. That audience habit outweighs any imagined benefit of manually hitting post.
That is such a relief to hear. Okay, so the content is flying out into the digital ether automatically.
It's out there.
But how do we know if anyone actually cares?
We have to read the machine's mind.
Which takes us to step 6, decoding the scoreboard. Growth via AI insights.
Moving from guessing to data-driven strategy.
And the text says you have to look at this weekly, not monthly.
A monthly review is way too slow now. The landscape shifts too fast.
So you analyze reach, impressions, engagement every week. But what I love is how the text translates these metrics into human psychology.
It's vital.
Like, so saves equal genuine value.
Right, they want to keep it as a reference.
Shares, I mean, the content is something audiences want to associate their identity with.
And profile visits indicate curiosity.
Exactly. But here is the workflow hack from the source that blew my mind.
The chief data officer trick.
Yes. You export your raw performance data, literally a CSV file from the platform.
Yeah.
And you paste it back into ChatGPT.
And you ask the AI to find the 3 strongest patterns.
And suggest 3 specific strategy changes. It's brilliant.
Because the AI can spot multidimensional variables that a human eye simply can't.
Right. It might say, your highest saves happen on 5-slide carousels, posted at 8 a.m. on Tuesdays using a negative hook.
I'd never spot that in a spreadsheet.
Never.
No.
And then you use A/B testing, right?
Testing one variable at a time.
Like testing 3 different hooks.
Mhm.
A bold statement, a question, or a surveying statistic.
You deploy them evenly and let the math tell you what works.
It's like running a continuous science experiment on your own brand.
And it removes your ego from the process. If a post bombs, it's just data.
So liberating. Okay, so you have the data dialed in, the growth starts happening.
A momentum is building.
But how do you go from being just another efficient creator to an actual authority?
This is the final piece. Step 7 and the FAQs. The end game.
Long-term authority. The guide says this requires signature content formats.
Right, a recurring series that builds anticipation.
Like a Teardown Tuesday or Friday framework.
It trains the audience to look forward to a specific high-value event. It becomes an appointment.
It also mentions collaborating with complementary creators, using AI matching to find them.
Collaboration is the ultimate transfer of trust.
Definitely. And scaling visibility with reusable prompt libraries. But I want to dive into the FAQs at the end of the text.
They address the listener directly here.
Yeah, with the most common beginner questions like, what is the timeline?
3 to 6 months.
And it notes that the first 90 days are algorithmically the hardest.
The algorithmic sandbox?
The platforms are basically testing your endurance to see if you're a bot or if you'll just quit.
Exactly. They want 90 days of consistency before they open the floodgates.
But I want to bring up the final, most existential FAQ.
Okay.
Is AI content actually enough to build real authority?
This raises a very important question.
Right, because if we're all just using AI to perfectly structure and design everything, are we just in a meaningless digital stalemate?
And the framework firmly states no.
Why not? We just spent an hour talking about how amazing it is.
Because AI handles the mechanics. Drafting, designing, scheduling. But the human handles the expertise, the nuanced opinions, the relationships. If you rely purely on AI, you produce flawless, hollow commodities.
You have to bring your own authentic, unfakeable, lived expertise.
Exactly. So to synthesize all 7 steps, momentum builds through action. Start steps 1 and 2 today. Don't wait for perfection.
Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final provocative thought to mull over.
Let's hear it.
If an AI can perfectly mimic your voice,
Yeah.
perfectly schedule your posts, perfectly design your visuals, where does your personal brand actually live?
Wow.
Does authenticity still mean doing all the grueling work yourself? Or does it now just mean having the original idea and letting the machines do the rest?
Like an architect who designs the building but doesn't pour the concrete.
Exactly. So think about what unique, raw, unpromptable human element you bring to the table that an AI could never replicate, and then use these tools to amplify it.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone.
We'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.
Thank you for listening to AI Creator World Podcast. If you found this episode valuable, make sure to follow the podcast, subscribe on YouTube, and share this episode with another creator who is building their future online. For deeper guides, AI tools, and step-by-step growth strategies, visit our website at aicreatorworld.net. And remember, in the age of artificial intelligence, creators who learn faster will lead the future. See you in the next episode. Bye!